What if Ben10 was in Young Justice Part 10? Now, this has been on the back burner for 3 months. Part 9 came out 3 months ago, and now I'm starting to record this. Now, you'll most likely see this video on Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday night. So, tomorrow on Wednesday, I'm going to be uploading 2 stop motions, a double upload. A double upload. I'm going to be uploading What If Colossus, or What If Deku was Colossus, Part 4. I'm going to be uploading What If Moon Knight Was in Young Justice Part 2. Now basically I'm going to be uploading those tomorrow, and that's enough talk. Let's just dive right into episode 3. As we begin episode 3 with pretty much Gar Logan, or let's just say Beast Boy, talking about, or them having a monologue on Beast Boy's pretty much journey as a pop star. Him being an actor, him also being, a boyfriend to a princess, I guess, from Sokovia. I don't remember, but basically some sort of foreign country. But basically, what would happen? We just skim over this because most of you guys have seen season 3, and if you haven't, you should just watch my earlier what ifs, or at least just go on HBO Max and watch them yourself. Now, basically, we skip over this part because, we just see a little montage or introduction of what Gar is doing now in his life. Now, so we get switched to the island where they would find Halo, as Black Lightning is still having problems with his powers, still having some sort of trauma with his abilities, since he killed that girl, or that meta girl, basically leaving the situation there. As Megan tries to take Halo somewhere safe, as Artemis tries to take Halo somewhere safe, we can switch to the rest of the episode as we see Robin, or Grayson, sneak in very quickly actually into the testing room where they're testing, or pretty much tricking out stuff. As Grayson gets deeper and deeper in the labs, he eventually finds out where they're hiding the tech, finds a bunch of evidence and a bunch more on top of that. Now, as we get switched to online or security tape of Vertigo, we see that as we switch later on in the episode, where we see pretty much, Artemis, Halo, and Black Lightning tried to, escape. As we see, pretty much, episode ends pretty quickly because Ben isn't really involved in this part of the, pretty much episode. Now, Wally is involved somewhat because, he is a part of the main group of senior Young Justice League members, since he didn't die in this canon. As you see the lab blow up because of, the mission, and as they have spilled, flammable objects, flammable items around in the pretty much area. As we see that the uncle, or the king, tries to pretty much, kill Ramon. As we see the episode halt at an end where we see Wally meet up with Connor, as we see Ramon unlock his abilities, and we see a bunch of other more stuff happen. As the episode ends off very quickly, as Ramon takes his revenge, or stops his uncle. Basically, we leave off the episode from there, as we get switched to episode 4 and 5. And that's where I'm really going to go more into the story, and really more likely introduce a certain newer character in my stop motion. So basically, during the beginning of pretty much this episode, as we see pretty much Wally wake up, and basically him roaming around the house cooking dinner for Artemis, and for this version, Speedy, the clone of Speedy, basically. Not the clone Speedy. Pretty sure the clone Speedy. Yeah. Basically, what would happen as we see him live somewhere else with his daughter, him taking care of his daughter by himself in this continuity, because we would see that Artemis and Wally would have still lived together and would have been married at this point in the story, because Wally never died, meaning that process of pretty much Artemis mourning would never happen, and she would have married Wally. As we get switched to Ben, Now, Ben no longer lives on Mount Justice. He lives in a small penthouse down in Metropolis. As Ben goes on with the rest of his, well, pretty much life, as he's still like, was it? He's still like around 19 or 17, probably like in his 20s. We see that Ben is just enjoying his time. Him also being kind of a pop star somewhat. Him being more of a, let's say, into video game, voice acting, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. Now, for a Halo situation, she would have been living with Artemis with Wally. Basically, for this story, pretty much Speedy not really being very much involved in this story. Now, he will still come in for the episode he'll be mainly a part of, but still. As we see Ramon's brother get crowned the king, because, well, he's the only person on the country or on the, foreign country soil that can take it. Basically, we get switched to Megan and Connor. As they, check up on Ramon being absolutely peed off by his brother taking the crown from him, as we get switched to Ben. As Ben would make his way down to Megan and Connor's house, since Ben would be friends with Connor, as well as be friends with Wally. Mainly Wally, because Wally, he saved Wally's life. Now, as the story goes on, as we get switched to everybody else's life and what they're doing in the episode, as we get switched to Justice League Outsiders, the intro. Now, as the episode continues, as we see, pretty much Speedy first time in the episode, since it would have been changed, Speedy would have helped out pretty much Grayson and the clone of Speedy, and basically would have made their way or made themselves useful. Basically, them getting ready. So basically, pretty much as Speedy and Grayson still have their conversation, as they are also accompanied by Wally as well. Wally being there as well, him helping out Dick, because he is still best friends with Grayson, because that's what their relationship is like in the comics. Now, pretty much, they make kind of a reservation, I guess, and they still go on their little mission, but they still have to do some of a favor for Speedy, kind of, pretty much just as simple security guards. Now, Wally would have been a part of the story as well, the story being changed a little bit, as Wally would have just been Wally, just grown up a little bit, and I'm having the same security guard outfit as, Grayson, Speedy, clone Speedy, and, everybody else. As we get switched to Halo, as Artemis would have been teaching Halo, would have been just talking to her, trying to, pretty much, just put it simple, trying to figure out what made her so special. Now, as we get switched to the rest of the episode, as we see Ben, for the first time actually, we see Ben, first time in this time in a What If, as we see Ben walk down the street. As Ben's walking down the street, he finds something unusual or just something weird happening at a nearby ran down pretty much warehouse. As he goes over there, tries to investigate, as he's wearing his iconic like Ben10 Alien Force type outfit. As he's looking around, as he gets halted by some sort of man in a black cloak. As the man pushes him back down to the ground, as Ben tries to fight back, as Ben would have transformed into Upgrade. Now, as Upgrade would have started to, or Ben would have started to fight back against this black cloaked hero or villain, as he would have started to shoot lasers towards him. Because not most people know that pretty much, Upgrade could shoot lasers from his face, or from the little circle on his forehead. Or as he's starting to shoot and shoot, trying to aim towards the black hooded creature, or black hooded, pretty much silhouette, as he runs off and tries to fight him, as we get switched back to pretty much the security guard job with Wally and the rest of the group. Now, basically, as they try to track down a runaway truck, as they go after that truck, as they come across, as they come across, I think, forget it, I don't even remember his name, but basically, we see that Wally would have passed by, as Wally would have ran off, basically catching up to the first truck, as he would have been fighting against that truck. as he would be in the same truck where Grayson and pretty much Ronnie, I think his real name was, as they would have started to try to figure out what was happening, as they would be interrupted by, as they would have started to fight against the villain that was overrunning the pretty much heist, as they would have started to pretty much three tag him, just start to drop him left and right. Because mainly Wally with his super speed, plus Grayson's, tactics, and on top of that, pretty much, what was it? Robbie? Or, pretty much the clone, not the clone, but I'm pretty sure. So Will Harper, Jason, Grayson, and pretty much they would have taken out Brick, and they would have started to, stop the metahuman trafficking pretty quickly. Now, as they would have stopped, and the episode would have been ended off there, as we could switch back to Ben before the episode would end, as we see Ben fight against this hooded creature or hooded figure, we would be revealed that the hooded figure would be Eon. Now Eon would have started to attack Ben left and right, punching him in the chest, and eventually hitting him with just a powerful enough energy blast to make his Omnitrix start to spaz out. As Omnitrix would start to transform him into, different aliens left and right, just twitching and maybe even malfunctioning. As the Omnitrix would have started to power up, getting to the point where it would start to go in self-destruct mode, as it would stop, as the energy would have dissipated, the Omnitrix being slightly warped or, let's just say tweaked as a form of it being broken. As the Omnitrix would have had glitchy holograms on it when you pick out an alien, and it would have been pretty much scratched up the Omnitrix logo. Now pretty much Ben would have been switched back into his human form, getting knocked out, falling onto the concrete floor in the warehouse. As Eon would have started to come towards Ben and try to take the Omnitrix from him, or try to do something to him to make sure he doesn't leave and make sure it doesn't cause a problem to him in the future. As we see, he gets stopped by Wally, as Wally would have been on his way back to Artemis, super speed style, as he would have stopped, and he would have been in a zero costume, as he would have seen this happen in the warehouse, since he would have passed his warehouse coincidentally to get to his house or to get to Artemis, as he would have seen this and he would jump down, basically fighting or just drop kicking Eon into a concrete pillar, as Eon would have flew through the pillar, him teleporting away. Now Wally would have helped up Ben. Ben saying, "Who was that guy?" Wally saying, "I don't know. I didn't get a good glimpse of him." Now as we get switched to the end of that episode, as Ben's Omnitrix is somewhat broken. Now we get switched to episode 5. Now, basically, episode 5 would have started off similar to the same, as we would see the episode start off the same, but before we get switched to New Genesis in this, episode, as we get switched to Ben, as Ben would have started to, pretty much tweak with the Omnitrix, try to figure out what was wrong with it or what was happening to it. As he would have started to tweak with it a little bit, not transforming yet, but just seeing that it was new, different, more, let's just say glitchy, holograms of aliens in the Omnitrix, them looking like hybrids of the aliens that he already has. As he gets switched back to, or he gets switched to New Genesis, as we see the bugs, or pretty much Forager's people, get, duped, get duped by the new gods, as pretty much War Dog, or it was Eon, no, not Eon, but pretty much War Dog, or whatever the heck his name is, the son of Darkseid, basically, as they would have started to fight against his lackeys that have superpowers, or alien lackeys that would have taken down the other foragers, because one of them would have had acid packs on their back of their body, and another one of them would have had some sort of super strength or putty abilities, as they would have started to beat up Ravager, or what was it, Scavenger. Now basically, a Scavenger and the rest of his people would have been, just juked, like straight up just, dropped like animals, just, folded, as we see that pretty much, our Orin, I think that was the Death Dog, or the Dog of War, aka Darkseid's son. Pretty much what happened is pretty much Forager would have seeked out help because, well, his people were in trouble. As we get switched back to Ben on Earth, as Ben would have been messing with the Omnitrix, as he would have met up with, Beast Boy. As Beast Boy would be done with a shoot for that day, with pretty much Star Trek, or this universe's, pretty much Star Trek series, as we would see pretty much Wally, not Wally, but we would see that pretty much Gar would have asked Ben how's life been treating, as Ben saying it's all good and all. As Ben would get a call by Wally. Wally asking him what was up with that what was up with that black hooded dude in the warehouse yesterday. As Ben would have said, I don't know who that guy is. As he would have said, excuse me real quick, Wally. Excuse me real quick, Gar too. Basically him putting Wally on hold and him getting another call by somebody else. As he would have gotten a call by Megan. Megan being friends with Ben since, the whole entire Omnitrix and his, pretty much their alien, alien link or whatnot. And basically, as Ben would have said, okay, and basically him making his way down to Megan and Superboy's house. As we can switch to pretty much Megan and Superboy to Bear, one of the new gods from season 1 that, had that little adventure with Connor, basically starts to ask for Connor's help on New Genesis. Now, as that happens, we see that pretty much Bear shows them a telepathic story about what's happening on New Genesis and that they need their help. Now, what happened as, well, Megan would have been on her way down to New Genesis, as also Bear would have been introduced to Ben. Now, Bear would have said, hello, Ben Tennyson. I've heard stories of you around the universe. The council have been talking about you, your celestial abilities, and also a bunch of other stuff. As Ben would have been saying, yeah, thanks. Pretty much as, well, as Ben would have said thanks, and pretty much as we would see that, well, pretty much Bear would have asked, where are the other younglings, the other newer heroes? I know you're one of the new heroes. You've only arrived at the same time as the original team was banded, but you're very young. Basically, Ben would have said thanks, I guess. Ben being the youngest member of the senior part of the pretty much Young Justice. As we get switched to all the other teenage heroes on the team as they get called for a space mission. As they make their way down to the boom tube, as they are accompanied by Ben, as also 13 would have been there as well, along with, pretty much as along with Blue Beetle and a couple others. Now, Ben would have made his way down there, him telling Wally he would talk to him later by the phone and him hanging up on him. As they would have gone to New Genesis, as they would have started to talk about how they're on a mission in space. Ben saying, I've been on missions in space before. Now, basically, Ben, pretty much has a little flashback of the Plumber Academy and stuff like that. As Ben pretty much is, bugged by Impulse asking, hold up, you've been in space missions? Basically, Ben saying, yeah, I have. Wonder Girl saying, just like the Justice League, we're in a space mission, just like them. Basically, her having a little bit of a daydream alongside 13. But they would have been shortly cut as Bear would have told them a mission. As we get switched back to Earth, where we see pretty much the rest of the team or members, alongside of Wally as well, come there to train Ohalo and pretty much Geoforce, or pretty much Ramon. Now, as this episode or part of the episode will be changed just a little bit, the bit is simple. Wally's just there in the background. He doesn't really say much of anything. So it's not really a speedster power like set. And his powers are very different from Geo or from Ramon and Halo's powers. Very, very different. So the bit is simple. Wally doesn't do much of anything in this episode, other than just talk to Ben for the iteration of the first part of the episode. As we see pretty much Super Wonder Girl, Blue Beetle, Impulse Kid Flash, and Impulse Kid Flash is, the new Kid Flash, because in this continuity, Wally West is the new Flash. Wally West would be the new Flash because mainly, simple, Wally West has gotten the mantle of Flash and now has his red and silver Flash outfit he had in, I think, New 52, or he had in the continuity where he was still alive. Now, as Forager would have asked, pretty much, what was it? As Forager would have asked, you know, what was it? The people that come there, because Bear would have told them, and they would have made up with the bugs. The bugs trying to attack them because, well, they're on their land or they're there, but they stopped by Forager. Forager saying that he wanted them here for help, for protection against the new gods. As Kid Flash would have been talking to Blue Beetle and Ben, basically saying that pretty much, what was it? Basically saying that it's pretty weird. You think so? Now basically, now Ben wouldn't be a part of the senior members of the Young Justice, but he would have been a part, more of the older part of the Young Justice. Pretty much, what was it, member or core group, because he still would have been a teenager. He's not really a big part of the story. He still saved Wally's life. That's why he's given some adult missions with the senior members of the team, but mainly Ben has been more of a team member for the second version of the team. Him mainly being more the same age level as pretty much Impulse, Beast Boy, and also Blue Beetle, and being about the same height as Blue Beetle in this canon or in this what if story, this fan fiction. As Ben would have pretty much told, or Ben would have basically told or just whispered to pretty much Impulse and Blue Beetle about the whole entire thing with the creepy black hooded dude yesterday. Basically, Impulse saying, I think I've heard about him in the future. A little bit, just a little bit. Little rumors about him. Now, basically, as pretty much, well, Ben says, thanks, I guess. Basically, him trying to figure out if this guy was from the future or he's just another villain that has a big name that does something very relative in the future. Now, as they would have been on New Genesis, as they were still talking and everything, basically, as we see the bugs have a conversation or pretty much get angry with Scavenger for asking outsiders for help, but Bear says that, he's here to help. Now, as they have a little squabble, we get switched back to Earth where we see Ramon and Halo talk as their relationship kind of gets there. Now, as that, story is cut short because Wally would have been in the background, not really saying much of anything, the story not really changing, as we get switched to back to New Genesis as the story, progresses. As we would get switched to the team, or not the team, but the juking they were about to do on the new gods, trying to fight back against them. As pretty much Artemis would have been, not Artemis, but Megan would have been disguised as one of the bugs in battle armor, and the rest of the team would have been in the bushes, just waiting for an attack. As Blue Beetle would have told Ben why they did not transform before we got into position, and pretty much Ben would have told him that it's just my thing. I'm just going to do my normal, mush. Just my normal thing. Run in, pick a random alien, and go with the flow. As Blue Beetle said, okay, whatever. I'll still admire the whole entire thing, how you never had a plan on any of the times you ever fought beside each other. But yeah, do what you want. Now, as pretty much Orion would have been discovered to be Megan's brother, because well he was using telepathy and Megan was picking up on it. Her taking Orion and talking to Orion herself, knowing it's her brother. As Ben would be really confused, saying, "What the heck is going on?" As Blue Beetle and the rest of the team would have been also confused as well. As Blue Beetle and the rest of the team would have seen this happen, as we see Megan show herself and her, pretty much going off the rails and, calling out Orion to be her brother. Now, as they fly off, they get switched to the rest of the team, Bear also being very mad, and them being very confused on what was happening. As we get switched back to Earth, as you see, pretty much what was it? Ramon is being told how to control or focus his abilities, as that basically happens some of the same. Now, as the episode or that part of the episode, we switch off from there, as we get switched to New Genesis, as we are revealed to, pretty much, well, Megan's brother. As Megan talks to her brother, or a white Martian brother, and basically confronts him telling her why he's here for the new gods and to flame the fire between the bugs and the new gods. As he says, I'm not gonna let you rat me out. As he transforms into a Martian animal, or Martian, pretty much wild beast, to try to intimidate Megan. Now, he tells her why he's here because the red Martians, green Martians, and white Martians are pressing white Martians into more poverty in the more disgraceful ways. Basically saying, the whole entire race war of white Martians, red Martians, and green Martians are going crazy on Mars. Basically telling her why he left Mars to be here. Okay? Saying that New Genesis was a way for him to get away from the, let's just say, democracy, or let's just say division between each Martian race. As he tells her about the White Revolution on Mars, the White Martians, as he tells her that the White Martians are going to get help from the new gods for a revolution on Mars, just because he has to do a little bit of favors on New Genesis just to get enough power, just enough resources to overthrow what's happening on Mars. As he argues back and forth with Megan, as the situation gets even more pressing, as he explains that, it doesn't matter how I do it as long as it gets done. As he starts to fight, or, he pretty much punches Megan, pretty much about to fight her or about to take her down. As we get switched back to Earth, the same story happens. Halo gets, injured, but we find out that she can heal herself and stuff like that. So, basically, we get switched to the rest of the team jumping in to save Megan before she can get any more damage or even more hurt with pretty much her brother. Now, as the rest of the team jumps in to fight the other meta teams or aliens that are fighting against the team, as pretty much as Wonder Girl dodges a blast from one of the lasers, as we see Ben basically transforms into a hybrid or combined version of Heat Blast and Jet Ray, as Ben would be very confused on why his aliens were merged together like they were when he was a little bit younger. Basically, by a little dream he had with the Omnitrix, because, the Ben10 original series never really happened in this canon, but we see that pretty much Heat Blast, Jet Ray Heat Blast, or Heat Jet, I guess. Basically, as we see this new hybrid of Ben's transformation, as he starts to just go with it. As he can fly like Jet Ray and shoot fire laser beams out of his eyes, or laser blast out of his eyes, as he also has pyrokinesis in this form as well, as he starts to fly around and try to take down all the other and pretty much metahuman alien creatures, as Blue Beetle's fighting against one of them, as pretty much Ben comes from the back and basically hits the alien or creature with a huge blast of fire, basically blasting the aliens into smithereens, almost burning the alien alive, but stopping the flames right after it incapacitated. After that, as we get switched to Wonder Girl and Blue Beetle about to get taken down, as they were stopped by or saved by pretty much, what was it? Scavenger. Now, as Scavenger, helps them out, as we get switched back into the mental mind game, or the mental fight space of Megan and pretty much her brother. Now, as that whole entire situation happens, as they still fight, but they still have the same common resources, and they still have the same type of relationship as everything, as Orion tries to fight back against Megan. As Megan starts to fight against her, basically using the memories of her friends, her loved ones, and a bunch of others to fight back against Orion. Orion having no other friends or people to rely on for this mental fight, as he is trying to be or Megan's basically trying to make him, good, trying to not kill or even fight her brother, just trying to help him. Now, as she tries to, pretty much help her, as he uses one last mental blast to take her down, but she uses her friends or the memories of her friends to overthrow this battle, beating Orion in this mental game. As Ryan is brought down to his knees, as Ben is de-transformed right after the mental battle is over. As Ben would have been pretty much interrupted in his thoughts by Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle asking Ben what was that new transformation all about after the events of the fight or battle. Now, Orion dips after he literally mental kills or brain kills the meta children that he was mind wiping or mind controlling for the fight. Basically, dipping right after he does that, having vengeance in his eyes as he disappears. Now, as he disappears, as both all of them are shocked, and especially Ben being incredibly paid off by this, him being mostly angered by the, pretty much result of this fight of two children being murdered. But basically, as this happens, as they try to exile Scavenger, as Forager is somewhat, exiled, I guess. But basically, he's still in this game, chooses to go with the Earthlings. And basically, as Scavenger is exiled and told that, if Forager, or is it Forager is exiled, as the Hive ever sees Forager, he's going to kill him. The bit is simple. He says, if I will ever see you guys, any of you guys ever again, he will end you. So he dips. As Forager is exiled, as Bear and the rest of the team try to figure out the best way, but pretty much Forager is, given opportunity to come with them, to pretty much the bit simple, come with them and become a hero on Earth, or just stay with them for the meanwhile. Now, basically, as Ben also has the Omnitrix tweak out a little bit, as the Omnitrix takes a scan of Forager, but saying that pretty much bug species DNA sample acquired, unavailable at this time. Basically, Ben being kind of confused, because normally when he takes a scan of an alien, he has to wait a few minutes, but still it says that it's going to be able to be used. Never says unavailable. But nonetheless, as Ben pretty much says, that's kind of weird. Pretty much, Jaime's saying that the Beetle Scarab senses something damaged with the Omnitrix. As Ben says, I guess I have to go. Guess I have to go to Galvan Prime again. Now, pretty much, Blue Beetle says Galvan Prime. As Ben says, yeah, Galvan Prime. The guy that made the Omnitrix. I met up with him during the years of, the whole entire us growing up and stuff before this whole new Genesis happened. So, Genesis stuff really started to pop off. Basically, him saying that I have to go meet with him to fix the Omnitrix. Now, as Blue Beetle says, can I join? Basically, Ben saying, sure. Now, as the rest of the episode still plays out some of the same, as Forager is picked up by the team, and they leave New Genesis, as we could switch to the end credit scene, or the little end credit, pretty much episode, little end credit scene, little thing, as we see pretty much when we see, Wolf sleeping in the back of Megan and Connor's house, as we see pretty much Ben and Blue Beetle make their way to New Genesis. Now I'm going to leave it off here, guys. Not to New Genesis, to Galvan Prime. Now, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe.